I said, yes, sir. I said, if and when that happens, you rest assured I will do a good job of it. This is what I told him. So I went, when I was supposed to stay a night and leave the next day, so in the hotel where I was sleeping, I think we were in Hilton Hotel. I was with Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba. So in the middle of the night at around 4 a.m., I woke up to this light in the room and about 6, 7 people in the room with guns. They were not putting on uniform, they were putting on jackets and so on and so forth. And I woke up, I said, who are you? What's going on? Then one of them said, he spoke in English. You hear him, he's even speaking English. So I was in the wrong place, first of all. Then they said, so say, where are your documents? Bring your briefcase. Before I opened it, they had broken it. So but I kept asking, who are you? Who are you? Who are you? Then as I was doing that, when I looked through the door connecting to the room where Dr. Ndahiro and Tom Byabagamba were staying, I saw they were sitting down in handcuffs. For me, they didn't put me in handcuffs. So I asked me, what's going on? They, a bit rough, but so they took us, dumped us somewhere in prison. I didn't know. It was my first time to be in Paris, and my first time to be in prison. So, hopefully the last. Since that time, I haven't been to any other prison. So they put us in the lock, somewhere down in the basement of some building, and left us there. Then later on, people showed up around 3 o'clock. In fact, why I remember that Bihozagara was around, they didn't know where we had been taken. I don't know how. They were assisted by some people in France whom they knew. Then we saw Jacques Rabunal and Bihozagara. There was a very good friend of ours called Carbonal, a French guy. They showed up in that basement in the prison because I think they had known where we were and they had tried to give us food. I refused to eat. I told them I'm not going to eat anything in that prison. So they brought us bread, I remember, and milk, pints of milk and bread for us, because we had refused to eat prison food. Then they even wanted to interrogate us. Well, they did. They wanted to to use a polygraph on me, the lie detector. I refused. I told them I'm not going to have a lie detector at all. I said, if they want to kill me there, then go ahead. In the end, they say, whom did you meet? I mentioned that man. Then he said, who else? I said, Christopher Mitterrand. He said, no. Who told you he's called Jacques Christophe Mitterrand? So, so they told me, repeat. I said, no, I'm not going to repeat. I said, I'm not the one who gave him his names. So anyway, in the end, at around 8 o'clock, they released us, and that night I left. I drove from Paris to Brussels, where I was to take a plane the next day and come back home. Now, I'm saying this, I'm telling you this story. The fact that somebody actually implied that something happened to our people, meaning even if you take Kigali, you will not find your people there. You will not find them alive. Then later on, connecting that with the history, I mean, with what happened eventually, I could not but conclude that was the meaning. They were privy to what was going to happen. Now, in the most recent thing, we may now switch to something next to us and the recent. And, you know Rwanda has had many problems in the region, and especially with the Congo. For all these years, actually, said we are here, as almost all the 32 years have been problematic. And when you look at the story, these genociders who went to Congo, by the way, whom we had the opportunity this last time, when was it, 2 weeks ago, or how many weeks? When we had a Unity Club event here, this same room, when people who went through all that history, these senior commanders of FPR, when one of them sitting there told us a very comprehensive, interesting story, because he was there, he was in it. For him, he was not saying things he just heard from some people or anything, no. He was part of it. He told us all the places he moved to in Congo, and the officials he worked with, and colleagues who up to this day have been integrated in the armies and other institutions in Congo, and he named them by names. He told us the story of even how he went to Burundi and everything he did there, and the names of people who did what, who are still there, who left, or something. He's an encyclopedia on this. And he actually was part of it. Those who must have, who were here saw it or saw it on television. And he has notebooks, he has pictures, he has evidence, later on which. But forget about all that. The story has always been, and he told us, you remember, he told us even of the connivance of the UN, the peacekeepers. Yes, they worked with, they were selling gold together, they were involved in the timber business, in agriculture, and named places, people, and where. It's just so. But despite all that, up to this day, you will hear people say, FPR don't exist. The UN, there's something, there are some experts, group of experts. They'll tell you all those stories. This story doesn't exist. Or if they say it, they will say it so lightly that you should believe it doesn't matter. Okay. So it goes on, and then some of these leaders in the region, in Congo or Burundi, they say it publicly, how and on which side they are. And their intention, and even what they have said on camera, somebody will want to convince you, no, it's not him. It's not them. It's some advisors. No, but he said it. Whether it is an advisor who wrote it on a paper and the president read it, it is no longer advisor, it is the man who read the thing. So they will keep you telling you this. So now, not even for a bit, I don't believe, ordinarily, I don't believe in conspiracy theories. I really don't. But when you have people, who are there asking the same questions, pretending it's saying the same things, and even when they come back to you and tell you what they told you last time, meaning they want you to believe what they are telling you, or what they want, not the facts you're presenting to them. So it's really like saying, better change your mind and start seeing it like I see it. Anyway, all this has resulted into what we have now. And I also want to remind you, and then I've said it again, but I hope you have had time to cross-check the story, the truth about it. This conflict we have in Eastern Congo did not start from and was not started by Rwanda at all. But somehow the plan, I think, before was to make it a problem of Rwanda or for Rwanda. Again, to tie into the story, to connect with the whole story of where everything that has happened is not anybody else, it is Rwanda that caused it, or that must carry the responsibility. I think that needs somehow in your minds or whatever, or by gathering facts, that problem needs to be settled. This has not been our war. We didn't cause it, and it did not originate from here by any means. We are not part of it, the origin, except for being associated with saying, oh, this is M23, the story that was there 2012, and for 10 years it was not addressed, it comes back, still it comes to be our own problem. But the same people, in fact, one time we were in Nairobi, we had a meeting with heads of state at the beginning of this conflict. I had opportunity to ask President Tshisekedi in the same meeting. I said, President, how has this become Rwanda's problem? How has it become this is not anything started by us or from one. Why? He just hesitated, and I told him, I asked him, I said, are you aware of the fact that actually that whole rural areas, those areas around, have more or less been taken over by FPR, and they even marks and collect taxes? He hesitated and said, yeah, he has heard about it. This was his answer to me. He said, so what do you think FPR is there doing? And why do you allow them to be there? And we have asked you to work with you to address that problem together. You have refused. Now, before that was over, another president offered an explanation and where those people originated from when they went to fight in Eastern Congo, saying it came from started from his country. So, and every time I brought up this issue with the people, I said, why did you make this Rwanda's problem? It is not Rwanda's problem, it is the problem of Congo and their own people, and it only becomes our problem when it comes to FPR that must be sorted out. One way or the other, either you sort it out, you Congolese, or the UN that is employed there in their thousands, you address that problem and stop them from invading our country, or we will sort it out ourselves. Eventually, that's how we went into this matter. Now, to the recent things. Whatever happened in between, I try to cut a very long story short. A lot of manipulations started happening. They would call us one day in one capital, they would call us to Rwanda, we go there, we discuss things and raise the things the way we thought should be addressed. That one doesn't work well, then next time we are invited to go to Doha, then we go to Doha, then next time we go to Washington. And in between, we went to Dar es Salaam, Nairobi, we went wherever, talking about this. But there was one thing that was constant. Congo, or the leaders of Congo, didn't want peace. They wanted to continue supporting FPR against us. In fact, later on, they were joined by some other countries' armies. You know the story about Goma and Kava and so on and so forth. So, but we told them, just help us deal with FPR, and for us, we will not. But in the end, something came up. By the way, you should also, it's like even now when we talk about removing defensive measures and so on and so forth, which I'll come to later, they say Rwandan troops must pull out of Congo and so on. So we say yes. You know, for many of these people who pretend, they actually, by that, they mean that even M23 will be pulled back into Rwanda. That's something hidden behind. It's like they expect us to be receiving M23 here. Now, that goes into a long debate.